Not as intense as the quarterfinals, nor a nail-biter like England's semi, but this one kept us guessing right to the end. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. It's hard to know what to make of the third, fourth place playoff, or the bronze final as it's now named, but both these teams, fair play to them, they played as if they wanted to win it, and you know, it was a decent game of rugby. Like it wasn't, you know, as I said, not nowhere near the intensity that we've seen in the quarterfinals, and you know, it wasn't kind of edge of your seat stuff either. But you know, both teams had patches in the game. There were some patches where it was, you know, you could have maybe fast forwarded it on. Other than the fact it was live, but still, for me, it was an enjoyable game of rugby. Other people might have other opinions, but hey, that's life. Right, so Tom Curry, early on, he gets over the ball, wins a penalty for England. Farrell slots it from the tee, opens the scorings 3-0 to England. England then win a penalty. They go up the line, set up the maul. Argentina get in there, disrupt well, but then Dan makes some great ground in the carry. Erling comes on an amazing line and just has the power and pace to go over from 15 metres out to score. Farrell converts this one for 10-0. Great start from England. Argentina haven't fired a shot yet. England then disrupt Argentina's line out, and you know, they're making it harder for them because of that. Argentina then not rolling away after a good carry by Underhill. Penalty, Farrell makes it 13-0, and already thinking the game could be over before, you know, Argentina know it if they don't wake up. Stewart gets pinged for hands on the ground, and Argentina go up the line into the 22. You have good carry from Kramer, gets them on the front foot. England are offside. Argentina from the penalty opt for the scrum in the shadow of the post. It's a popular decision with the crowd, lots of cheering for that, but feel like they need to score from this. You know, it's, you know, crowds are great for, you know, encouraging to kick to the corner or go for scrums for tries and stuff, but hey, they're not going to hand you back the points if it doesn't come off. And this one, scrum is solid initially. Isley has his feet at the back, but he's told a few times by referee Nick Berry that he's got to use it, but he keeps it in there. Then England go for a second shove. They force a knock on. England eventually kick it clear, but then Buffelli takes a high ball and just flattens Smith into the bargain in there as well. But then seconds later, one of his teammates with an error undoes his good work. And that was, you know, for both sides as well. There was some good stuff, and then there were, you know, was a few errors. And it's, you know, part of what I think is, with, you know, greatest respect to both of these teams, that their back lines, you know, they're not the best in the competition in terms of their fluidity, you know, and they both look like their backlines may be in transition, and you know, we'll probably see something very different from both teams after the World Cup. But from here, as I said, Argentina's brave choice on the scrum rewarded with 0 points. Smith then gets swallowed up after collecting a high bomb, and De La Fuente comes in with the initial hit, and then there's a few other Argentinians in behind him. Merchant gets pinged for sealing off. Penalty to Argentina. It's kickable. Thinking, though, are they going to take the points this time or go for another scrum? This time, Buffelli does step up, reduces the deficit to 13-3. Los Pumas finally off the mark. We then have some bright sides from Argentina. Gonzalez, Nixon, England line out, and just before that as well, a couple of players drove Earl back in the tackle as well. But then Curry and Underhill, they put in a big hit on Kramer, knocked the ball loose. Kramer is then, he doesn't retreat, so he's caught offside from an up and under. Farrell steps up again, makes it 16-3. Argentina then playing with penalty advantage. They keep playing from halfway. Malia, Buffelli and Carreras, all with some good carries, get them go forward. They get out wide on the left. there's a hint of forward pass, but then they burst into 22, recycle it quickly, and they're keeping England on the back foot all the time, not letting them reset the defence. Kubeyi then powers over to score. Buffelli's, he's lining up the conversion. Nick Barry, you can hear him on the blower with the TMO, thinking they're going to chalk it off because they spotted that forward pass, but he says it's all good. Conversion makes it 16-10, and that was a halftime score. Into the second half then, Argentina on the attack early on. Tuilagi puts in a massive hit in midfield, but crucially for Argentina, the ball goes backwards out of the tackle. Malia scoops it up. Argentina continue to attack. Mateo Carreras then runs it back, makes some good ground before his brother Santiago just slices through the English defence, shrugs off a tackle and goes over to score. Converted 17-16, Argentina ahead. But then Carreras, right from the restart, his mistake gives Theo Dan a try for England, and that's converted by Farrell for 23-13. So Argentina ahead for all of like 2 minutes, I think it was, in the end. Yeah, it was just a silly kick, like kicked it too low, and then ended up with Theo Dan, and he had the pace to go over. Henry Arundel then, we're well into the second half. He finally gets his first touch of the entire game, and he puts up a terrible kick, and then he catches Dan offside. Penalty to Argentina. Buffelli makes it 23-20 from about 40 odd meters. Then Gallo, he goes to ground in a scrum. It's a penalty to England. Farrell able to give England just that little bit more of a cushion, 26-20. George Ford is on now. He gets pinged for offside, and Sanchez, he steps up to make it 26-23. Argentina then, they come on the attack looking for a score that would either tie it up, send us into extra time, or a try to put themselves ahead. They're moving the ball pretty well, but then Lawrence, he shoots out of the defence, and it's a really good decision by him. Completely shuts down the move. It's a scrum for Argentina, though, in a good position. First, we have a good line from Moroni, and then on to Carreras. He bounces off the tackle of Smith. Argentina then win a penalty at the breakdown. And, you know, it's a tough kick from out wide for Sanchez, but he decides he's going to go for it rather than go to the corner. But then he pulls his kick to the left and wide. And there isn't that much long left now in the game for Argentina to tie things up. We can hear Alele Blue ringing out from the French crowd as they're supporting Argentina to come back, and they're looking to release Gonzalez out wide, but then Kerr puts in a decent covering tackle, and there's an accidental offside from Argentina. 3 minutes to go. England, they've got to get through that to hold on. They've got a scrum. They then, we reset the scrum a couple of times. Nick Berry is putting the time off, but it's still eating up the clock, having to actually reset the scrums. England launch it downfield, and Argentina run it back. Carreras comes zipping up the wing before absolutely smashing forward in the tackle. There are some cries that he was leading with the forearm. With that, we then have a break in play for some TMO checks. It seems like both sides want pretty much everything that's happening in the game now to be checked by the TMO. He comes back and says there's nothing in any of the incidents that have been brought to his attention, and we restart with a scrum to England. Argentina then put the pressure on in the scrum, but Earl, he does really well to come away with the ball. England secure it. They're running down the clock. Argentina, they're desperate, so they come in at the side. It's a penalty. Then Farrell gets that off the field, and that's full time, 26-23. England are the bronze medal winners at this Rugby World Cup. So as I said, it's probably not a game that many people are going to watch again. It's not going to be one of those, World Cup classics or anything like that. But it was still a fairly absorbing game, I would say. And definitely didn't, at least to me, didn't feel like time wasted watching it. Obviously wasn't as intense as we were expecting, at least the final to be. tomorrow night. But still, decent performance from England. Argentina came back really well in it too. And, these are two teams, as I said, not just their back lines, we talked about it earlier, but I think their entire teams are kind of in transition now as well after the World Cup. But so many teams, I think, in the world are going to enter a transition period, as we normally find after World Cups. So many retirements, and then new coaches coming in, or coaches looking for new ways to give themselves an edge and correct the mistakes that saw them being eliminated whenever they were in the World Cup. But still, from the opening game where these two played each other and England just absolutely controlled it, but still weren't looking great. These two teams did so well to get to this point here, and that's something for both of them, I think, to build on into the future.